During the 1920s, auto production in Indianapolis was in high gear, and auto racing in the city was in its heyday. The Indianapolis 500-mile race was the most popular sporting event in the world, attracting hundreds of thousands of spectators each year. But the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, like many civic venues at the time, placed restrictions on African Americans.
You're dealing with the premier event in a state. Obviously, it's an event that has national and international significance, but this is a state in which significant political leadership was held by the Ku Klux Klan.
During the decade, the Ku Klux Klan cast a dark shadow over the social and political landscape of state and region. Racial tensions burned as the Klan's power grew in Indiana.
There was an old debate, and one that you could get many a fight started in a barbershop. Was Indianapolis the southernmost city of the North, or was it the northernmost city of the South? And the debate raged because it had a lot of the cultural remnants of a southern city, but it found itself in a northern state.
It was probably a period more than any other where Indiana was more direct with their segregation. The Ku Klux Klan rising to power in the state and with great influence on the political leaders of the state. Racism and segregation suddenly was a big issue.
When you live in Indianapolis, you're very aware of the Indianapolis 500, and you're very aware of what's going on in auto racing. It was the center of auto racing as much back in the 20s and 30s as it is now. And the blacks could see this, and they wanted to be a part of it. So they just decided, we want to go racing, we'll just start our own races.
The AAA, they had the door closed. The gate was locked for any black driver that wanted to compete in the Indianapolis 500. I mean, they were the sanctioning body. It was their deal. What was great about the Golden Glory was that these drivers wouldn't be denied. They were going to race come hell or high water, and they did it. And I mean, that says a lot about their tenacity and their wanting to just race. It wasn't about color to them, it was about racing. That was all they wanted to do.
Now, this is another way of saying that, hey, we belong. White colleagues, they have the 500. Here, we put this race on. This is a celebration of black culture, of black enterprise, black progress. For this association to be founded, be front and center, and to host not only a community, but a regional-wide activity, this says a lot. And it was a source of great inspiration for true blacks.
Barred from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Colored Speedway Association held the first Golden Glory Sweepstakes at the Indiana State Fairgrounds dirt track on August 2, 1924. On race day, more than 10,000 spectators crowded into the fairgrounds grandstand to watch the single largest sporting event ever held for African Americans.
When that series was put together, suddenly you had the African American community who could look at that and say, hey, you know what? That guy down the street, I saw him racing at the Indiana State Fair. I could do that. Suddenly you can relate, and it makes a huge difference in terms of being able to draw together a public that are willing to buy tickets and want to participate in a sport because they themselves feel that they have that opportunity to participate. That's what that series did.
And at that time, black heroes were hard to find because they were few and far between. And you see these guys win a race, well, to a little kid, said, dang, I want to be a race car driver.
One of the top competitors on the Golden Glory circuit was Charlie Wiggins, a talented mechanic and car owner who was a four-time champion of the black circuit. Charlie quickly earned the respect of many of the biggest names at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
They had a car there and nobody could fix it, and so Charlie got up underneath it and he saw what was wrong with it underneath it. And nobody believed that this colored mechanic could possibly figure out what was wrong with this car. And he did, of course, and then he got the job.
Drivers such as Bill Cummings, who won the Indianapolis 500 in 1934, Howdy Wilcox, a top driver, Harry McQuinn. These were all good friends of Charlie's and certainly recognized his mechanical genius.
So when guys like the Chevrolet brothers went out to the Golden Glory Sweepstakes and they saw Charlie Wiggins compete, they could see it. That guy's talented. That guy knows what's going on with the race car.
For them, it's about the craft. That white race car drivers and white race car builders would go to watch members of the Colored Speedway Association race doesn't surprise me at all. And it shouldn't surprise anyone who really understands athletes or knows anything about athletics.
Let's make racing bigger. Forget about the color of the participants. We just want more people interested in and active in auto racing.
But while many celebrated the accomplishments of the Golden Glory drivers and mechanics, racial tensions continued to burn on the state's political scene. During the Indiana state elections of 1924, candidates backed by the Ku Klux Klan won almost every campaign, including the governor's office. To celebrate, the Klan staged marches through the African American neighborhoods, sending a chilling message to the crowd.
For members of the Colored Speedway Association, it had to have been very difficult, particularly at the time when the Klan was at the height of its power, because they're really coming into a situation where they're trying to figure out where they can grow, how they can grow, and yet still stay safely within the boundaries and make this enterprise work.
The Colored Speedway circuit soon expanded to other cities, with races in Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Kansas City, and many others. For black racers in segregated society, driving the lonely back roads to the track might be more dangerous than driving on the track.
The Golden Glory Association would say, here are some places where you could stop along the way. Here's where you could get some food. Here's where you could stay the night if you need to stay the night.
Journalists from the black press would actually travel along with these drivers from town to town and travel along the back roads and write notes within the black papers telling fans that wanted to come out to the races which roads were the safe roads to take, which hotels or which restaurants that fans could get a meal or stay the night. So this was a way that the black press could help fans come out to see the races and help draw support to the Golden Glory circuit.
Facing many dangers on and off the track, African American drivers faced a difficult road to keep the Golden Glory circuit alive.
The mob lynched 2 people.
Beat them relentlessly, strung them up, and hanged them.